And we are live. Hello, guys. Welcome to Guru Network Live AMA. Today we have awesome guest from ThirdWeb. It's Joe, Solutions Engineer. Say hi. We have our CEO Evgeny, and we have our lead front end Rodion. So I introduced everyone. The stage is yours, guys.
Thank you, Snarks. Thank you. And today we wanted to continue our tech talks, and that's a new format we started last week, where we dig in deeper into the tech, which we use, to which basically available in the industry. We dig in deeper. We don't hesitate to drop all the way down to real coding, real IDEs, and everything. And today we have a great guest, Joe from ThirdWeb, with whom we've been working on implementation of account abstraction, the Guru products, for quite a while already. For maybe 2-3 months, we were working on this project. And the things we were able to achieve with the ThirdWeb integration, with what guys actually providing to us as a network, as a project, they're amazing. And first of all, I wanted to go over a little bit of solution which we applied, and then Joe, he have some presentation of sorts, and we already checked on it. And Rodion, in the end, you all guys know Rodion already, probably because of previous conversations. Rodion can actually dive deeper into the code and show some examples of how the solution actually working. So first of all, I would share the screen real quick to explain what we are building in here in regards of Guru Network with ThirdWeb. So ThirdWeb has ThirdWeb OS, and Joe, fix me if I'm wrong in everything, in anything. Yeah. So.
I trust you, man. You know, you've been working on it long enough.
ThirdWeb engine, we have ThirdWeb OOP, we have ThirdWeb engine, we have Guru ecosystem, where we have apps like let's bring some real examples here. Dex Guru, like Burning Meme, and everything what we are starting to launch from our wizard right now. So Guru ecosystem, basically getting its authorization from ThirdWeb OS, then ThirdWeb OS have connections to the ThirdWeb engine, then ThirdWeb engine allows the projects which are in Guru ecosystem to automate transactions and allowing us to use those account abstractions which are provided by ThirdWeb. Web3 automations here. So in a nutshell, that system allows us to talk about the same wallet when you log in through ThirdWeb. So and having all those awesome types of authorizations we have. So for example, if I would sign out, when I'm signing in, we have like Telegram, we have Gmail, we have Twitter, we have Discord, and much more. I believe there are like dozens of different options. That's what we enabled. And when you log in any of application on Guru Network, you get in the same account abstraction. So points and tokens, which you, for example, you were processing or you were swapping in Dex Guru, those are the same you have on Burning Meme, and the same you have on every application we are launching. For example, I just recently launched the Burning CTO application, which I was showing yesterday. Actually, it's quite interesting what's the status. And in there, you see your app is ready, and even in those new applications, when we're spinning them up, and I just spin them up for our internal things, as well as some fun and new Burning CTO channel. Again, it's the same account abstraction, same ThirdWeb, and it's not only allows us to basically hook up all those socials to the wallet and provide this kind of service flawlessly without any external wallets or anything. So we have wallet inside every app, but it also allows our bots and applications to to submit transactions to account abstraction and do all those Web3 automations. So in a nutshell, that's what I had today for this awesome partnership and that awesome kind of integration we have with ThirdWeb. And I'm passing it to Joe.
Yeah, I mean, I think your demo, the Dex.Guru, is an amazing showcase on what exactly it looks like to use ThirdWeb tooling to build Web3 apps, right? You had everything. You had Web3 wallets. You had your automation on the back end with Engine. I mean, this is the stuff that I think everyone who comes and listens to these talks want to know, right? And you guys have already built it and integrated with it. You are a working model of that integration, which is amazing, dude. I mean, you guys, I love that you've mentioned your composability, right? Your configuration for these wallet types. So I know I, for one, I'm always happy to see the progress that you guys work on. Like Evgeny mentioned, we've been kind of talking for a couple months now on DexGuru and how this setup would look like. So seeing that progress come over, from first initial, hey, how can you help, to this entire system that's being built out and now expanding to other apps, right? Really cool to see. So always so happy to look at stuff like that. Cool. So, Rohan, I know you wanted to do some code snippet views. Did you want to do that before I dive into my stuff?
Rajon, you're muted. But
I guess I'll do it in the end of our conversation. Yeah, after your presentation.
No worries. I can go ahead and do the presentation now then. Cool. So, Evgeny just mentioned a lot of cool stuff. He showcased a really great end flow, right? This Dex.Guru application. Everyone who's listening, go check it out, right? You can start like taking a look at it. And so one thing I want to talk about is, how did that happen? Why did it happen? What were some of the problems that it solves for any Web3 developer, right? Anyone who's coming in to build an app, what are some of the issues that they might have run into, and why was ThirdWeb such a good option, right? So if you guys are listening, anyone watching right now, and you have questions around Web3 development in any capacity, right? Whether it's how do I do AA, what is AA, smart accounts, put them in the comment section, put your questions in the chat, and we'll go ahead and answer it through this session. I'm all about interrupted, right, sessions, so feel free. Anyone here on the call as well, Evgeny, Rodinian, if you want to ask questions, feel free to interrupt me at any time. I'm all for it, man. So ThirdWeb, real high level. Who are we? What are we? What do you need to build in Web3, right? So ThirdWeb is the toolkit provider to help you build in Web3. And a common question we get is from people who are very Web2 native, especially gaming companies, right? Gaming companies are like, hey, I'm a game dev. I've worked in all kinds of video game development at Riot Studios, Blizzard. I've worked here and there, right? I've done Unity builds. I've done straight Flash games back in the early 2000s, right? And then they start asking, well, I want to do Web3. What does that look like? What are some of the pieces of a Web3 build? And so, high level, every developer needs a couple key things, right? You need ways to connect your front end, which was actually shown in that guru.dex or dex.guru app, right? We saw that wallet connect piece. We saw the auth methods. And that was a very normal thing to do as you come in through applications in the world of Web3. Your wallet is now your identity. It's now your account management system. No longer do you have to rely solely on your email or username password, right? You have a wallet behind it that has all of your assets. And so when we think about Web3 and we think about the front end pieces, every app is going to need a way to connect to your identity, right? And users are in control of these identities. They want to have control over their wallet assets. They want to be able to have control over who sends funds, how do we transfer assets between different wallets. All of this kind of stuff is really important as we build up these applications in Web3. So front end pieces are very important, and these are everything from logins. This is how do we do fiat on ramp and crypto payments, right? Anything a user decides to touch and interact with is going to be a front end component that ThirdWeb can help you developers utilize through our toolkit. And so that's front end, right? So okay, the user comes in, logs into an app, cool, and now all of a sudden they want to do stuff. They want to start transacting on chain. And from a development perspective, right, a UX perspective, we want to make this as easy as possible for people. So how do we do that? Well, we have some backend blockchain APIs, and that's through Engine that you guys can utilize to do things like mints, transfer functions. You can kick off certain smart contract functions. You can do things like automated actions based on a query result that you guys get right through webhooks. A whole bunch of cool stuff through their backend. And now also we're going to need some on-chain interactions, right? We're going to need ways to govern our on-chain actions, and so this is through smart contracts, as everyone here knows. And so ThirdWeb actually has a whole host, which I'll go through in a little bit, of pre-builts, so you don't have to spend time. Everyone knows what an NFT contract looks like at this point. Why spend time trying to build your own when there's already a whole bunch out there that you can utilize already? And if you do decide to build your own, maybe you have some really cool custom functionality, no worries. Build your own, deploy it with ThirdWeb, or build your own, deploy it outside of ThirdWeb, and still you can integrate it with our toolkit to interact with that contract. ThirdWeb is all about full stack deployment. This means any platform that you guys are already working on, you guys can use ThirdWeb tooling to facilitate. So high level, again, what do people need? They need a way to connect. They need a way to interact in with the blockchain, whether that's through a backend API or not. And they need on-chain rules, right? Smart contracts interactions. So what is ThirdWeb? How do we support these kind of main component pieces? And we have a pretty wide product suite. So this is why we kind of like to break it out into these buckets of front end, back end, on chain, and now our newly infra layer. So as we went through a little bit earlier, we talked about wallets, and Universal Bridge is our payments option. So how do we pay for things through cryptocurrency? How do we pay for things for on-ramps, right? Fiat on-ramps, if I want to use a credit card. And then we have things like smart contracts, where you can use our front end tools to actually deploy contracts. Really helpful. We have all of our client SDKs that you guys can utilize across a whole bunch of platforms. So things like TypeScript, React Native. If you're building games, Unity and Unreal Engine, right, are additional SDKs that you can use. And then, of course, our backend API with the engine, all accessible with developer tooling. Really cool is that there's a infrastructure layer. And what does this look like in terms of an app building? Every blockchain has a RPC, right? So it's how we make transactions, it's how we interact with it, it's how we send calls, how we read, how we write on chain. Really cool. Now, one issue is that sometimes chains have a single or only 2 or 3 RPCs, right? A lot of traffic comes through, they get bogged down, and the user has to manually switch these over, right? So we have something called RPC Edge, which I will automatically load balance traffic in between these different RPCs so that users have the smoothest experience reading and writing to the chain, which is really helpful in terms of scaling, right? So as you guys have more users and you guys scale up, RPC Edge is going to scale right there with you. And another thing that we seem to that we've added to our infra layer, and it seems pretty often used, is insight, right? Data indexing. Everyone wants to know data on chain. Everyone wants to know who has what NFTs, who's transferred what NFTs, what's the price of a token, what's the history of a token price, right? What's the fluctuation of it? And data indexing is where you get all this information. So Insight is an additional layer that you guys can use through ThirdWeb for your data indexing needs. And then, of course, AI. AI is here, folks. No matter what anyone has to say, it's a fad. It's gonna be gone in 3 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, what have you. We don't have that view. AI is here. It is getting better and better. Every day is the worst it's ever gonna be, right? So today is the worst it's ever gonna be compared to tomorrow. Tomorrow is gonna be a little bit better. And at that point, it's going to be the worst it's ever been for the future, right? So it's just going to keep getting better and better. And so we've actually come out with a really cool set of AI tools that you guys can use to combine your Web3 development and AI. So this means agents. This means automatic transactions on chain, right? So current AIs, not necessarily trained on chain, but with ThirdWeb's Nebula product, you can have all your information from blockchain into any AI model, which we'll go over a little bit later as well.
Some addition on this previous slide. In regards of Guru experience, right? First of all, we came for this authentication layer and account abstraction layer, and we started using it, and it was like great. We put SDK in there, and it's working out of the box. we had to dig a little deeper into it because of our use case, and Rodion would go through it like a little bit later. But then we realized that it's not only like about account abstraction. There is this powerful engine API with all sorts of endpoints which we can utilize to deploy NFT smart contracts, for example. And we already utilizing it in Burning Meme, where they need to deploy different collections based on users' basically flow. So we literally call in ThirdWeb API to deploy new contract from ThirdWeb contracts catalog, and that's it. That's already working. It simplified our life, and we don't need to care and build, build binary code or anything to do it. And it's automated. It's from within our workflows, and it could be triggered by the user, which is cool. Then that stuff you mentioned about indexing balances and everything. Somewhere we're already using it. We have our own indexer, but at the same time, for particular things, very useful. Again, great that you guys already thought about it and gave those features, a green light, and you already have it. I'm not sure if like lots of projects using it, but we are. As well as with AI and everything, what you're building in here, we already had a discussion about integrating Nebula into our AI interface, which we have in Dex Guru, with Burning Meme. We have it everywhere because we are agentic AI framework as well. But at the same time, having this decay, which can find the best routes, execute transactions, do all of this, as well as at the same time having ability to orchestrate the same stuff on lower level from our orchestration, not necessarily through your orchestration. That's what beneficial for us as a developers, because we have workflows which we wanna, like outsource to Nebula, for example. At the same time, we have Web3 automation and trading workflows, which we would like to execute ourselves. And ThirdWeb engine allows us to do it. So yeah, just some comments on a real world implementation of everything you showed in here.
Yeah, I think you hit on something really important here, right? Developers don't want to be locked into a single kind of toolkit or infra provider. Like in your case, you have multiple AI uses, and you have multiple data indexing uses, right? And you are able to combine them, right? You can use some of the ThirdWeb, you can use some of your own, and it makes for just a better product, right? If you guys are ever siloed in, this happens across any industry, and pay attention. If you guys look at like the culinary world, right? If a chef or a restaurant is really honed in on just a single skill set, a single food, it's never going to develop into something new and creative, right? It's going to get tired and boring, and you'll see these restaurants kind of start closing down. So in Web3, the metaphor here is every restaurant's another toolkit, right? So if you can have more restaurants, you have more diversity, you have more tools, you make for a better product at the end of the day. So this is a really great real world use case with Guru that has come through and utilized multiple toolkits for their product, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, in Web3, we are connecting the dots,
Yep.
That's why it's Web3.
Exactly.
It's not Web2 anymore.
Yep. No longer do you need permission, right? Like you can go out and you can build all your tools. You can do everything you want. You don't have to ask for permission anymore, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So one thing I want to show here is something called our playground. I won't go through each and every instance here, but I do want to have people be able to utilize a really neat tool. So this is our playground. No credit card, no account required. You don't have to sign in or to anything. You can come in and you can play around with all of our components, all of our SDKs, all of our tooling that is offered through ThirdWeb. It has everything from like how to customize wallets. And so if we wanted to get that same flow that we saw earlier, we can say, hey, we want to get rid of Gmail, but I think we had, let's see, we didn't have this. We had, remind me, Evgeny, what were some of the other options? I think we had Apple, Facebook, right? Something similar to this.
Yeah. Discord.
And Discord
That's
up here.
pretty much it.
Yeah. So really cool. And you can even see the code behind it, right? So I urge everyone, come through, check out our playground, playground.thirdweb.com, and you can go ahead, click through all of this, get your UIs, copy the code, and make your own applications. And that's just the front end pieces, right? A really powerful thing that we see a lot of people start using is this universal bridge. And universal bridge is exactly as it sounds. It bridges, it swaps, it does everything you need for user onboarding in terms of funds. So if I'm a user and I say, hey, I want some ETH, I need some ETH on base. How do I do this? Well, I can connect my wallet. I can go through here. I'll go ahead and sign into my account, my wallet, and I can say, cool, I want 0.01 ETH on base. And I can either do crypto swaps or credit card, right? So for example, let's log into my MetaMask account here and we'll see the little amount of funds I have in my MetaMask. If it pops up, there we go. Oh, of course, live demo days, right? My MetaMask never popped up. You'll see a list of currencies that you can swap to. All the swaps happen behind the scenes. No longer do users have to go to sketchy bridge sites or be all like, "Hey, am I really actually swapping at the right contract address versus a contract that is similar but not necessarily the official one?" Right? All of that has happened behind the scenes. Or make it even simpler and just use credit card, use Apple Pay, use Google Pay, right? Going through some of these providers and I can go through this flow. And once I hit continue, I'll be, hey, how do you want to pay for this? Do you want to use your credit card? Do you want to use a mobile payment like Apple or Google Pay solution? What is your preference, right? And it's all about easing that customer experience and easing that UX design flow. So with this, we saw this a little bit in the presentation earlier, right? This was existing in the wallet as well, where people can hit buy and start getting these funds. So really impactful piece of front end that I think Web3 in general is kind of missing. We have these bridge sites. You guys know them all. You have all of these different swap sites, right? Everyone has their own swap. Everyone has their own bridge. And this really is about aggregating all of that information into one component. And when it's easy to use, easy to see what's going on. And of course, it's headless. So if you guys want to build your own UI versions, you can do it through REST APIs as well. So that's front end engine. We have a couple things that you guys can go through. Again, this is our super powerful scalable solution. Very easy to use. You can either use HTTP requests. So if you guys are familiar with working APIs, you're already a Web3 dev. If you're a Web2 dev and you're like, hey, I know everything about post GET requests, guess what? You can use Engine and you're a Web3 dev. Congratulations. Add that certification to your resume and you can start getting paid more at your job. You can also just do it through the SDK directly, right? You don't have to do through HTTP requests. If you're more familiar with SDK routes, you can do that as well. Again, it's all about giving the developer the option to have the most impact when creating your Web3 applications.
Yeah, and Rodion, I believe, spent a good amount of time in the playground in the recent couple of months, right, Rodion?
Yeah. How'd you like it, man? Like, what was your experience with it?
Well, I tried a lot of combinations of wallet connection methods in app ecosystem. I tried to combine it with signing with Ethereum, and I found the most optimized way for us. So for now we just stopped on ecosystem, and we do some kind of sign-in with Ethereum, but without actual sign-in, we just use AUS.js for the purpose, like to link the user from our database with the ThirdWeb account. And the playground is a place where you can just see what you can do, take some part of code snippet and use it in your project. Also, very helpful for me was your GitHub repo, GS. I believe this is a repo that contains the whole thirdweb.com portal or something like that. So I just take some pieces of code like an example to see how it works, because there are more sophisticated approaches than in playground. That's very, very cool feature. You can see all the features in action. That's great.
Yeah, one thing I want to mention is, and you touched on it, right? You went to our repo and you saw everything that was built, and that's because one of ThirdWeb's tenets is we're open source. So not only do you guys have these cool tools out of the box, but if you ever wanted to add anything or get a deeper understanding of how it works underneath, you can go to our repos, right? Like that was linked here in our channels here in the chat. You can go to our repos, check out anything that you might be interested in. Maybe you want to copy over our wallets. We actually have a lot of people who wrap our SDK within their own and white label our SDKs, and we're totally okay with that, right? Our philosophy is, and I think this is kind of growing out into more general Web3, is growing the pie, right? If we gate people, if we silo our content, Web3 is never going to get the adoption that we want it to.
Yeah, that's
also-
true. Sorry.
Yeah.
but-
Like, I'm interested to hear your guys' thought as well too. Like, do you guys think Web3?
You also have a great, sorry for interrupting you, repo with examples, with only examples on Python, TypeScript. Apart from the main repo I mentioned, GSDev. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. No, you're great.
Actually, I found engine repo is quite useful as well, and I would post it that right now as well. For example, we have this concept of asynchronous external workers, which are hooked up to our orchestration, which we are developing in Python, and you have like JS SDK. And for example, going through engine and grabbing that SDK and basically those endpoints described in there, I was just grabbing the whole model, dropping it in ChatGPT and asking create Python SDK from it to actually start experimenting on those external workers. So having open source code for your engine, open source code for your SDK, allowing developers to, especially in those times when we can just drop everything into ChatGPT and write code in USDK in the language we want or with features we want, it's very powerful and very useful. And that's what I'm saying to our team all the time. Like, if you couldn't find something in the doc, we all developers.
Exactly.
The code is your documentation. If you have it available open source, just go in and dive into it, and you will see everything.
Yeah, it's a fine balance, right? Like how do we add important info into our docs without flooding them and making everything impossible to find? So it's always interesting to see, and I love hearing that a developer said, you know what, I didn't find it in the docs, so I went to the GitHub source, which is really, really cool to see. And it's all about that permissionless base of Web3, right? You don't need our permission to go into the code base. It's there, it's public, it's for you guys. So I'm really happy to hear that you actually took that route and developed something of your own with it. Really, really cool to see. Cool. So last thing, I want to give time for Rodion to do his presentation as well. Time for questions at the end of all of this. Nebula, right? This is our again. This is our focus. This is really much where a lot of the tech industry in general is going. AI is everywhere. And so, what is Nebula? How is it important for blockchain development? And how can you guys use it? Anyone who's watching, how can you guys get started with it and start using it in your own apps, right? So Nebula is the most hands down powerful AI for blockchains, bar none. That is a statement we are comfortable making because it's true. We've done our research, we've done our kind of competitive analysis, and there are 3 reasons why, right? This is trained on a dedicated blockchain model. Right now, this is something where our AI model is actually trained on every single chain that ThirdWeb supports. So if you go through ThirdWeb's chain list and you see we have over, I think it's 2,500 chains that we have supported EVM chains, Nebula can interact and know exactly what's happening on each and every one of those chains. Really, really cool. It has agents, right? So you've had this experience yourself where you can kind of talk to it and have it help you deploy contracts, right? Eventually, this is going to become automatic where you can define rule sets and you can say, hey, Nebula, anytime you see maybe some X amount of funds in this wallet, deploy a contract. Or anytime you see a transfer into this wallet, transfer it into my cold wallet, right? My cold storage. You can have your agent do things like, hey, anytime a price point hits, I want you to to interact with this smart contract and perform a purchase. Anytime a price point hits, I want you to perform a sell, right? Imagine how cool that is, where I don't have to be looking at my computer all day, every day, and trades are happening. Like some actions are happening on the back end on chain with my consent through an AI agent. Really, really cool feature, and it's the end goal that we're building out for Nebula. And so, for this, again, many different tool sets, right? So you can integrate Nebula with through any of our APIs. You can use MCP servers if you guys want to add additional pieces of context for Nebula. Maybe you have a use case where you want to integrate IMDb as another context provider, or you want to integrate any other that you might have are out there. So like Eliza, OpenAI is other integrations that we have. You can use our SDKs, or you can integrate with other AI frameworks, right? Like I mentioned earlier. And
like we are right now developing MCP on top of our Guru framework.
Beautiful.
And so all the actions you see and all the apps which are spinned up from Guru framework would have MCP there. Then have an agent which could actually orchestrate the actions in your app because it has MCP interface in it. Is very powerful idea. And because right now we kind of finished with one integration and we start getting into our roadmap, like the next steps, and Nebula is definitely in there, and we would like to play with it. And we already have those chat type AI chat types of interfaces where that could work perfectly, and this is a place for it. So yeah, and actually in those tech talks, because we started them recently, we probably would like to cover this path, like how we integrated Nebula into the framework, how it worked. And Joe, if you're ready for like the next sessions, like we can review Nebula next time, because we'll be working on it in the following like months.
Absolutely, yeah. Let's do it. I'd love to deep dive with you on how you integrated Nebula and what you guys built out of it, right? Yeah, that's definitely a piece that I would.
We hadn't yet, but that's the next thing in our plates, basically.
Yeah. Once it's up, we can go ahead and talk about that. Always happy to. Cool. So real quick, what is Nebula? How do we think about it, right? It's read, write, reason. Those are the three keywords, right? And when you talk about ThirdWeb in general, you saw front end, back end, infrastructure, and on chain. When you talk about Nebula specifically, it's read, write, reason. What does that mean? We want to be able to read any on chain data. Simple, right? I want to be able to look at contracts. I want to be able to look at price data on blockchain. I want to see transactions. I want to see events. I want to be able to read all of these things directly on the chain without any sort of middleman, so that I'm have the most up-to-date data, right? If I go through middle services, it's going to cause me to lag, and I'm not going to be as accurate. And so Nebula really takes this to heart in that not only will it read the blockchain directly as sources, but it will also compare multiple sources to ensure that it's accurate, right? And so you can kind of see this here, this validating data. So especially in prices, Ethereum on ETH might have a certain price, but then say an app like CoinGecko might have a different price. Nebula will actually go through, read through all the documentation, consolidate both on-chain and off-chain sources, and give you the price, right? Really, really cool example here. We want to be able to write. So not only do we want to read this data and say, hey, what's the token price? But maybe you want to say, I want to now buy this token, right? I want to now interact with this token contract, use that buy function, and start transacting on chain with AI. And Nebula does that with, again, being trained on blockchain. Normal AI agents or even AI models in general, they might be aware of blockchain concepts, but they don't know what's happening on the chain itself. They aren't aware of transactions that are coming through. And so this is where Nebula really shines as we start doing things like, hey, I want to do a transaction. Nebula, can you help me interact with this contract? Cool, right? So in this example here, I want to transfer ETH to a wallet. Nebula will analyze, okay, what's your wallet balance? Let's go ahead and simulate this transaction and see if it's going to pass or fail depending on that balance. And then if it's going to pass, let's actually prepare that transaction. Tell the user, hey, go ahead and sign it with your wallet and you're good to transfer, right? So then all of this happens through a write our write interface with Nebula. And finally, we have reason. And this is why Nebula is the best AI model, right, to use for building other AIs, right? So this takes in, again, usage data from users, right? Inputs, prompts that we do. We're constantly making these even better and better by taking in these prompts. Nothing new here. AI, every chat GPT type model does this. What's really cool is that it's also trained on ThirdWeb documentation. It's trained on our analytics, on our tooling, so that as you guys are building with ThirdWeb tools, you ask Nebula about it. Guess what? It knows. And also, most importantly, on-chain data. This is how you get that up-to-date information. This is how you get the latest transactions, the latest info that's important as you read and write to chain through Nebula. And so it takes all of this from these data sources and it puts it into what we call our T1 model. And this T1 model is going to perform this loop over and over, right? It's going to say, hey, this user has a certain intent. Let me confer with my data sources. Is this right? Is this valid? No? All right, let's send it over to the user, ask for a little bit more information, right? Let's go to another data source, ask for a little bit more information. If it is, cool, let's send it over to the user. User can move on with their day. Great. This model really helps us reduce the number of things like hallucinations. If you're familiar with AI, a hallucination is maybe it picks up something that you never really told it. So for example, if I say, hey, I want a token price on ETH, and for some reason it's giving you Polygon, you've never talked about Poly, you've never talked about anything, that's considered a hallucination, right? Malicious injection is another one. If you have a user who comes in, tells Nebula, I want to have a transfer ETH, right? I want to transfer ETH from this wallet to Y wallet. Nebula, with Web3 principles in general, because it's permissions and based on wallets, right? And Nebula knows you're not the user who is initiating this request, right? Your wallets don't match, your signatures don't match, and so it really can go through this reasoning loop and give the best outcome on these data sources, which is really, really cool. And so I want to share a little real quick, right? I'm just going to say here, this is something we've built using Nebula. This isn't Nebula itself, although you can use this to interact with it, right? Nebula, again, can be using APIs. They can be using SDKs. And so this is a little chat interface that we've used. You can go to thirdweb.com/Nebula, try it out. And so I'm just going to say, Nebula, can you tell me about the latest transaction on Ethereum? Really simple, right? And so what's going to happen is it's going to go and start querying. It's going to start looking at on-chain data, and it comes back. It says, hey, as of this date, right? And on this block, here's the latest transaction. It was a transfer, right? It was a USDT token contract, and we can go further. We can ask Nebula, hey, what happened? What were the addresses involved in it? What was the end result, the end state between each one? How long did it take? Was there any gas failures? Right? You can keep going deeper and deeper for some of this stuff as we look at Nebula. And so that's I think this is one of the most powerful pieces to showcase right here. If I were to ask any other AI, if I were to ask any other chatbot, it would have no idea what the transaction hash was. It would have no idea who started it, from which wallet to which wallet or contract. It has no idea of the function that it called, of the value in ETH that it sent, right? And what the end result was. It might know, hey, I know blockchain. It has transactions between wallets, and usually it has a gas price. Pretty general, right? But here you have the important information. I can click on any of these links, get taken straight to Etherscan, and we'll be able to see all of the details, or I can just ask Nebula here about those details. So I think this is a really powerful way to showcase Nebula, and an really easy way to get started. So anyone watching, again, thirdweb.com/Nebula, there's a big old button, get started. Click that button, you can start asking Nebula any on all of your questions, all of them. So really, really cool to see.
And we from Guru just confirm all the theses you just dropped, like, because like general AI models, like we use it, for example, Gemini right now in all our apps, and it took us so much time to actually figure out the exact prompt engineering in between the steps, so they are actually aware of blockchain data, can do the swaps. We did that work ourselves before Nebula became available, but now as Nebula is available and it's specifically trained model, I see the path for us forward to basically to apply whatever we've done for Guru framework for application which built on top of it with new specifically trained model, and that's exactly the path. Because those problems you mentioned, they exist. They are hard to solve. We've spent time solving them, and probably we would like to explore Nebula. And yeah, it would be interesting project between Guru and ThirdWeb integrating those things in the framework, and I see it happening.
Yeah, absolutely. The screen is just restating everything you just stated, Evgeny. Everything. So, why Nebula? It's on chain, right? It's trained on chain versus generic LLMs, which aren't. They might know the concept, but they don't have the actual data. So at the end of the day, data matters, right? It's why you guys are familiar with things like ads, free tools, right? Free tools, you are the product, and ads are selling to you from your data. And so data is super important in if there's a whole industry around it, right? In the AdSense industry, then that shows how important data is and why a AI agent or an AI tool trained on data versus concepts is going to be a little bit more powerful and get you guys where you need to go as you build out your Web3 apps. And so that's it. That's the high level overview. That's a quick run through on ThirdWeb on how we can help build your Web3 apps, how it helped Guru build theirs. And Rodion, I want to send it over to you because I want to give you enough time for your code snippets and dive deep into that as well.
Yeah, while Rodion starting presentation. Yeah, thanks for great overview, and we will have some examples and probably would give you some feedback with what Rodion wanted to present of like how we will build on top of it.
Of course.
Maybe some struggles we faced.
Yes. All of it.
Like feedback is crucial there to proceed forward with. Yeah, it's better saying what that we had yesterday. By the way, that page Rodion's showing right now, Guru staking, we introduced in May. It's all based off ThirdWeb staking contract. So again, we using multiple things at the same time, and it's literally one of the things you guys providing as well. Of course, we on top of it we developed a lot of our stuff, but at core it's ThirdWeb staking contract.
I also wanted to mention that. So we utilize the full spectrum of your products you deliver to the developers. So we utilize the most build tools. Well, actually, I'm thinking what I'm gonna show. Well, so what do we do with ThirdWeb and a user authentication? So we have like a database, users database, and we populate them with the when you sign up first, we populate and create your account with the ThirdWeb wallet. Also, we call it internal or operational wallet, and as well as it is a smart contract. We can automate transactions for you using Engine API. So when why we are asking you to transfer Guru base and NFT Guru DAO NFT to your internal account. So during staking process, you can just click next without actual approving transactions and sending them to the blockchain. We do all these things via Engine SDK.
Behind the scenes,
behind the scenes. So what I wanted okay. ThirdWeb documentation is very it's very comprehensive, detailed. You can take a look at how to implement components with default UI presets or customize it by yourself. and I faced not an issue, but some interesting thing. Maybe I hacked the system, maybe not. Joe, I need you to explain that to me. For example, when we create a basic component, connect button, and I have some basic config with the client wallet chains we want to support, and in particular, I set account abstraction that we want to support account abstraction on base chain and sponsor gas there. But as we might want to operate through the multiple chains, let's take just two of them, Ethereum mainnet and base mainnet. We want to have this like account abstraction permission for our admin wallet on both chains. But we can set only one chain here. And what I did when we connect, when user connect the wallet, I go through the chains I want, and on each chain I call. I'm getting admins for the account abstraction on the particular chain, and if it doesn't exist, I just add admin on the chain I want. It's either mainnet, base, or base Sepolia, and this way we give approval from the user to make transactions in our process orchestration. So this is the way we have account abstraction on two chains instead of only one. Whether it's correct approach or not, I'm not sure, but it works.
Can I just summarize for everyone listening what's going on here? That's exactly how we enabling this feature that whenever you sign in individual shells with application in Guru ecosystem, you basically you can grant a permission to the bot which operates in the application to do transactions or to do stuff for you, and that's exactly this case, which is kind of a little bit out of the box, I believe, in ThirdWeb documentation. That's why we had to like dig a little bit deeper, go through the sources, and figure out how we can do it exactly.
Yeah, and the way you guys have done it is very, pretty much how I would explain to do it. Right. The concept of our components is that one of the things is they help you get started really quick and easy. Right. They might not have everything that you need in terms of like, for example, your chains. Right. But one thing that you mentioned is we have, and you kind of showed it here in your button props, you have this list of chains that user can switch between two, right? And then you have this identity of account abstraction. So as this user switches between them, you can have a essentially a way for users to have gas sponsored on that chain. And the way you guys do it is pretty similar to what I would do. I would actually build out a TypeScript version of this instead of using our pre-built UI components, right? Because again, pre-built UI components are great for getting up and running, especially if your use cases are pretty minimal. And then through TypeScript, you can actually specify, hey, I have an ETH smart wallet, right? I have a Polygon smart wallet. I have a base smart wallet. All of the different chains that you want to do, sponsor gas, yes or no between them. Because remember, account abstraction isn't only gas sponsorship, right? So if you wanted to do it through that method, that's one way. Another way is through Engine. Engine can actually sponsor gas by running these transactions on behalf of users, right? We can do meta transactions. So that's another way to do it for gas sponsorship. If a user is coming through smart accounts and you are having, you can sponsor the gas on the transaction directly, right? It doesn't have to be in the UI component. So lots of different options. And I think a way that you guys have done it here is a really elegant solution in terms of, I still want to use the UI component, and I want to add this additional functionality. So it's like, I mean, honestly, really good job on going in through the technical documentation and coming up with a solution that fits.
Oh, thank you. Also, I wanted to try actually like you could see earlier, we have only social media as login options, but also we wanted to add, let's say, external wallet. And guys, if you don't mind, I'll try to do right now. It should be pretty easy from my experience. So maybe it's not just plug and play, but let's see. Wallet, and do I need to specify it in here? No, ecosystem. I leave it like that because I assume it could have a bit different user flow, but maybe not. I haven't tried it.
Just coming to the problem we're trying to solve with this external wallet login as well. In our legacy Dex Guru, that was the only option to log in with external wallet, and we have users migrating from one to another, and having this external wallet option is kind of that's why it's crucial. And Rodion, thanks for mentioning it.
Yeah. Also, it's kind of diversity because once you linked with your Telegram account, you can't have another ThirdWeb wallet with the same. So if you want to have two of them and you don't want to be linked, we just you have many options to have a new wallet.
Makes sense.
Oh, cool. You just added on there, and now
Yep.
we have another option of authentication, and that's probably what we wanted to show, how easy it is with ThirdWeb, right?
Exactly.
It is really just plug and play. So I have a new user. Yeah, we just signed up with a new user identity using the external wallet, and it created a new entity. Oh wow! That's great. I thought it would require like additional coding or something like that, and I just clicked enable the checkbox in the dashboard.
And now you can actually link it to your Telegram account or whatever you used in another account, and it will be the same account. That's the beauty of it.
Yep.
Also, actually, Joy, I had a question on good permissions case where users actually given permissions for particular assets and maybe even amounts to be being controlled through the engine. Do you have a good example of it, or is it somewhere in documentation? Because that's what we would like to have, for example, for our Web3 automation space, where we are providing basically trading strategies, but we would like users to decide on themselves on what they're allowing those automated strategies to do, what they're not, on abstraction level, on the wallet level.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me go ahead and here I'll put a link here in the private chat, and then we can share that over to the public. And then I'll present my screen. Rodion, I'm gonna take control over here for a little bit. Perfect.
And that's what our tech talk's actually for, digging deeper into real problems, showing ideas, showing how easy it is. We tried a new format of the show here, and I believe it's good because I'm a developer myself. So
perfect. Yeah, I for one, I'm a fan of this format. So good job so far. Account permissions and session keys, right? Session keys are going to be your gateway for user management into all things, sponsorship related, transaction related, right? So what you can do is you can say, hey, I'm a user. I have my account, right? And I want to add maybe Engine as an admin, or I think you guys are already doing this, right? So once you do that, what that allows you to do is you have this concept of session keys. And a session key is very simple. It is for a period of time, this wallet or this admin it can be a wallet, it can be a contract, whatever you guys decide, can perform some sort of actions. They can do things on certain contracts. They can spend a certain amount of gas. They can sign transactions, right, on behalf of the underlying wallet. So here's an example of what that might look like, right? So after I've already added my admin and I want to say, hey, I want a session key for a certain account, right? So here we're going to say, for example, just as a heads up, session keys are added from the user. So user has to click some sort of button. It doesn't necessarily have to say add session key. It can just be built into whatever flow you guys decide. A lot of people actually do it on login. So as a user logs in, it connects to their wallet, and one of the backend processes that kicks off is let's add a session key to this wallet for this period of time, right? And so here's what happens: we have our account that we want to add as the underlying kind of owner of the account, right? And we want to say, okay, what is the account we want to act on, right? So this is your engine instance. This is your contract instance, right? And what can that session key do? What can that additional admin do on this account? So maybe we have a list of contracts we want it to interact with. Maybe we have a maximum amount of native tokens that we want it to be able to limit, right, per transaction. Maybe we have a start and end date for this kind of thing. And then this is really where you can start kind of customizing and building out what actions can be performed on a smart account on a session key basis. So this means, hey, engine comes in, user logs in, I put a session key to engine, and engine can now do some of these automated transactions on a targeted contract. So maybe only on USDT. Maybe you don't want it on ETH, right? On the ETH contract, maybe you only want it on USDT contract. Engine can start interacting with it. If you want both, but both, right? If it's really customizable. Maybe you want a certain amount of token that you can interact with on these contracts. You can specify that here. This is very similar to like stop limits, right, or limit orders. You can do that kind of configuration here as well. And so that, to answer your question, session keys, man. If you guys want to start doing this kind of interaction, session keys.
Does Nebula support it? So can we limit Nebula in what it
you can
transfer?
Yep, you can go through Nebula and talk to it and be like, hey, can you help me set up a session key management system for this wallet? It can help you do all of that.
No, but if for example I set up those limitations and set up those permissions in my account abstractions, and I'm talking to Nebula, like, okay, swap everything I have to for your token, and Nebula would be respecting those permissions.
So quick little kind of delineation. Right now, Nebula will respect that, but it's going to ask for someone else to perform that action. Right?
Oh, okay.
We're not yet at the point with Nebula. It's still in open beta where you can do that automated flow end to end. But yes, it will understand what you're talking about. It will understand who has session keys on what contracts, on what addresses as well.
Nice. Cool. So some tech stuff.
Yeah, and then there's one other thing that I want to talk, and this is, let's see if I can pick it up here real quick. Sponsorship rules. So this is another way to do it. If you guys have your own servers that you guys want to kind of verify against on who can spend what, right? Maybe you have your own database. You can actually use sponsorship rules to essentially kick off a request to your backend server. And your backend server will have things like who's the wallet address, how much gas can they spend, how much, what contracts can they interact with, things like that. Brings it all back into ThirdWeb, and ThirdWeb will ensure that these are kind of enforced against, right? So another option you guys can do, if maybe you don't want session keys, maybe you want it directly from a user, server verifier is another way to handle these kinds of gas sponsorship rulings.
Oh, nice. We need to explore it.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I just want to kind of maybe wrap up and invite our audience to tomorrow talk we have with like, you know, we decided to divide those talks into two pieces with all the partners. We have like technical, which is today, and tomorrow we're going to have a business talk with Yaro from Guru side and with Gary from ThirdWeb side. And if you guys interested in how it all works on like from business perspective and what it actually gives to all of the interested parties, go and check tomorrow Guru Talks with Gary from ThirdWeb, and it will be more about business, what ThirdWeb allows Guru to do, what kind of partnerships ThirdWeb looking for, and how it all works in Web3. So go check it in 21 hours. It's going to be Yaro and Gary from ThirdWeb tackling business things. Today we tackle technical things. Tomorrow it's business.
Beautiful, man. And Gary's a great business guy. He's actually one of the individuals who we integrated, who worked on Block Native on our indexer product, right? So he knows all about scaling companies. He knows what it's like to get acquired. He knows what that process is like. So anyone watching and you have those kinds of questions, Gary is going to be the best individual to help answer some of those things.
Yeah. So cool. Very good conversation. Joe, thanks for coming. We had a blast with your presentation, as well as we are able to ask questions, which we're actually facing right now as a project who's proceeding forward with more in-deep ThirdWeb integration. And I believe we can proceed on Nebula side of things and do some another session on it when we have something to show about it.
Cool. No, yeah, I had a blast, man. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Joe. I'm checking all our socials and don't see meaningful questions aside of saying hello, which kind of shows that everyone is like me, awestruck by your comprehensive presentation. It was really awesome.
Thank you very much. Yeah. And if you guys ever see any questions after this show, feel free to reach out. We're happy to answer them.
Yeah, we will send it to you if we will get ones.
Cool.
Okay. Thank you all. And see you tomorrow on another show, which would be about business.
Hey, look who's here. Hey.
Oh, it's our regular guest already on our shows.
the unofficial mascot.
Yeah, that's my trainee. I bought him ChatGPT, and he's doing some job instead of me.
Cool.
Okay. On this note, see you, and thanks for coming, everyone.
Yeah, thanks you guys.
Joe.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you,
everyone.
Thank you, Evgeny, and thanks everyone who watches us right now or in the record. We will see you around.